Nobody looks like her.
Her clothes alone say fashion risk taker.
Cher is someone who brings all of the extravagance and glamour of a Vegas showgirl to ordinary life.
In the 60s, she and Sonny were the ultimate hippies. In the 70s, Cher's glitzy clothes dominated her TV show.
Can I hear a little commotion for the dress?
For over 40 years, Cher has reinvented fashion for herself and everyone else.
Every decade is supposed to have been my last.
A triple threat on stage, TV, and film, she's risen to the top in every field.
She's an entertainer, she's a fashion icon, she's a pop star, she's an Academy Award winner. She's done it all.
And because even today, we still want to know what she's wearing, Cher is a style star.
Not bad for an old girl.
Cher has mesmerized the world for years. Every time she shows up on the red carpet, she wears another fantastic creation guaranteed to be talked about.
Cher is not afraid to wear things that even spiders go, I can't make that.
Cher is a chameleon. She could put anything on and transform herself.
She's got the body of doom, she's got great style, and she's got the best attitude.
Barney's creative director, Simon Doonan, breaks down her fashion appeal.
Her style as an entertainer, which is sort of a lot of glitz, a lot of elaborate costumes, very Bob Mackie. And then she juxtaposes that with a stylish fashion sense that's a little more rocker and a little bit of punk, a little bit of rock, a little bit of Hell's Angel. There's nothing Laura Ashley about it.
Strutting her style in full frontal glory, Cher has always radiated a fiercely independent spirit all her own. The late Kevin Aquan, Cher's makeup stylist for many years, sums up her look from the very beginning.
The most glamorous woman of the 70s by far was Cher.
Constantly pushing the envelope with her exotic looks, she's literally changed the standard for beauty. Think diva style started with J.Lo and Britney? Think again. Cher was the first star to break all the fashion rules.
My parents wouldn't let me watch Sonny and Cher because she bared her navel. It was just taboo. You don't bare your navel.
Allure magazine's Kristen Perota says Cher's style set the stage.
Cher's paved the way for celebrities like J.Lo, Britney Spears, and Christina Aguilera, really making it acceptable now and even admirable to bare your body. Cher's inspired actresses and singers today to sort of have a take it or leave it attitude. From Lara Flynn Boyle recently going to the Golden Globes in a ballerina dress and saying, hey, you don't like my dress? I don't care.
Cher was always very out there and proud of her body and anxious to show it, but she always did it with a tongue in cheek.
Paulette Howell, Cher's longtime friend, says Cher had to learn to take advantage of her unique looks at an early age.
She had a mother and a sister who had blonde hair and green eyes, and she felt that she didn't fit in, and her mother, taught her early on that everyone has their own special beauty, and then you're free to take your path.
Sherilyn Sarkeesian Lapierre ran away from home at 16, and she met Salvatore Sonny Bono, an aspiring songwriter. The two hit it off. He is her mentor, she as his muse.
She was my inspiration, and it was just something that worked, something that was right.
He really loved that sensibility she had, but she was way more stylish than he was.
The pair became a singing sensation by the time she was 19 with their hit single, I Got You Babe. Famed costume designer Bob Mackie remembers the unusual couple.
She and Sonny had come out in the 60s with their bell-bottom pants and their fur vests, and nobody looked like them.
Before Cher hit the scene, blue-eyed bombshells like Doris Day and Marilyn Monroe had been the norm.
It was all turned-up noses and big blonde bouffants. There were no women in the business that had long, straight black hair, and it was just a whole different look.
Cher struck a chord with female television audiences all across America.
She opened the doors for a lot of women that had larger noses and darker hair and darker skin and looked exotic, and it covered everything from the African American women to the Latina women. They all looked at her like oh my, I guess I'm okay now. I look like Cher.
Bob Mackie and Cher first worked together on The Sonny and Cher Show in 1971, creating fashion history.
When all of a sudden I did a bare midriff dress on her the first time and everybody was fainting, you know, and think, oh my God, look at her, look at the way she looks. She was a young kid who was wanting something different, wanting to look different. We found that she could be anything. She was this amazing chameleon that never lost her identity, though, when she could wear any color wig, any style, and she was always still Cher.
To promote one of her biggest hits, Cher would create an unforgettable look.
This one's kind of like a classic moment in time. That's when she sang this wonderful record called Half Breed. And she said, well, I should wear something kind of Indian. I said, okay. And here we go.
Cher never did things in half measure, according to Merle Ginsburg of W Magazine.
That's like a full breed in my mind. But if you're going to do a song called Half Breed and make it work in a visual way, and remember, this is before rock video. All of her theatrics were on TV and on the stage.
That was quite shocking for the time.
Outrageous Cher was now larger than life, but in reality, it turns out, she was tiny.
She was this little size 4, beautiful, Audrey Hepburn-like body, you know, just charming. And Sonny was so small that it made her look like this big girl next to him all the time.
But what was really big was her makeup.
Early in Cher's career, she was really emulating an almost Cleopatra style. She had her eyeliner overdrawn. She wore these enormously long and luscious fake lashes that, to this day, women die over.
Coming up, Cher just about bears it all for the nation.
Gutsy now is a lot easier than Gutsy in the 60s.
And later, Cher wins everyone over at the Oscars.
Probably the outfit that stole the show more than anybody's ever. Cher.
When Cher, Style Star, continues.
Hi, I'm...
Coming out of an era of 50s blondes, from day one, Cher stood out. But she rose quickly to fame, and by age 17 already had a unique signature style as the sexy half of the new comedy act, Sonny and Cher. The 60s sexual revolution was on, and Cher was leading the way.
She invented the hippie look. That, you know, there was no hippie look before Sonny and Cher.
Laurie Stark styles many of Cher's wild looks. For her 2002 concert tour, she made a tribute to Cher's earlier hippie days.
This is definitely an inspirational little vest number for the 1970s or 60s, yeah. I think her and Sonny wore a vest like this, right?
She went from being a hippie chick and like fur vests and crazy stuff like that to high glam priestess.
Cher's inventive fashion became as recognizable as the duo's hit songs. Vanity Fair's Elizabeth Saltzman says Cher was a phenomenon and everyone copied her look.
Everyone suddenly grew Cher hair, everyone suddenly tried the outfits, everyone suddenly, you know, just pushed it themselves. So she just made it happen.
She had the long hair that she would flip, and she was just a total glamazon.
Sonny and Cher's marriage ended in 1974, and their divorce was played out on television.
Her life was on cameras. Her marriage was on cameras, so she kind of, it was the first reality TV that we had.
Ladies and gentlemen, Cher.
She went solo with The Cher Show.
Can I hear a little commotion for the dress? A little bit? Now let's hear it for the back of the dress.
American women had to have what she was wearing.
You couldn't sell a halter dress in 1975 in the stores, and then all of a sudden, they were all over the stores because Cher was wearing them.
With the women's lib movement in full swing, Cher teased the nation by posing on the cover of Time magazine, nearly naked in a see-through Bob Mackie creation.
It was really revolutionary, and it helped put her on the map.
White feathers, like that is very camp, but it's still beautiful. It's very hard to combine camp and beauty at the same time. We were moving into the disco era, which was all about the gay culture, all about being theatrical and wild.
Cher continued making headlines by marrying rock star Greg Allman, and her look mirrored their rock star lifestyle. Their marriage soon crumbled, and Cher checked out of the spotlight. But the 80s found Cher back on the scene, only this time trying her hand at acting, a move that would soon overshadow her singing and television careers. Always the risk taker, Cher chose radical film roles, but not everyone took her new profession seriously.
In '86, the Academy Awards, and Cher had done quite a brilliant job in a film called Mask. And she was completely ignored by the Academy. And they'd asked her to be a presenter on the show, and she thought, well, okay, why don't we just dress up like the old days?
In typical Cher fashion, she made her statement through her clothes.
We sat down in Tom Cruise's apartment in New York. He was the boyfriend of the moment, and talked through it, you know, and I said, well, don't you think a mohawk headdress is a bit much for the Academy Awards? I said, you know, you're giving an award to somebody. Don't you think that's kind of upstaging them? She said, oh, they won't mind. And actually, Don Amici, who got the award, he said, you know, I'm glad she was there because I would never have been in any of those newspapers the next day.
If there's one thing we can all learn from Cher, it's that any press is good press.
But for Cher, it's not about the press.
There wouldn't be anything in the world to make me say or do or be any way that's not me.
At the end of the 80s, being Cher meant returning to her true love, music. At the same time, Cher's fashion took a giant leap to a tougher biker chick image.
Cher went through her whole sort of hard rock phase when she was wearing a lot of black leather that was cut out strategically, and lots of chains, black hair. It was a very hard, aggressive look, and it was mimicked in the music she was doing.
She wore black every day, and then if she'd show up one day when she'd have pink or blue on, you knew she had a new boyfriend, and she was kind of like romantic.
Coming up, Cher acts out.
She was saying, I'm a serious actress, I'm a good actress, and I can dress however I want.
And later, we'll check with our experts to count down Cher's most memorable looks.
When she did that If You Could Turn Back Time video in a G-string, I think everyone was like, it brought them to their knees.
When Cher, Style Star, continues.
Tonight on E! We're counting down.
Cher had gone through 2 marriages, switched careers, and started acting. The Academy Awards had shunned her, but her luck was about to change. In 1988, Cher was nominated for Best Actress for her performance in Moonstruck. At the Oscars, it was her moment to shine, but she mysteriously rushed by the cameras wrapped in a black shawl. Hiding underneath was a barely there beaded I Dream of Jeannie type gown Bob had designed for her.
Well, I said, this is great to win in, but what if you lose? Then you got to walk out dressed up like this. Is that going to be okay? Yeah, that'll be fine. Don't worry about it.
He didn't need to worry, because she did win.
Bob and I thought about it for a while, and there was a black leather jacket. I mean, we went through so many changes. And then, oh, it was really weird. I mean, Coca-Cola wanted to see it before they would allow me to come tonight. It was unbelievable.
They forgave her for being dressed up funny and having a see-through dress.
In 1989, Cher caused a sensation with a new smash hit single and an equally smashing risque unitard, A Plunging V.
She did that If You Could Turn Back Time video in a G-string, I think everyone was like,